G'day guys, our last theory today on page 26 and 27 we're going to be looking at Interactionist theory. So this theory is the most wishy-washy, up with the fairies kind of theory. It's very much based on social constructionism, and it's not as rigid as evolutionary change, functionalist and conflict theory is. So we'll get started. George Mead coined this theory. The theory is based on, it's a very micro-focused theory, so you could put that above here. The idea is that individual actions are based on people's interpretations of the world. So any change that occurs is always about how micro people are interpreting their situations around them. It's not due to conflict, it's not due to slow natural progressions of change over time, and it's not due to meso-level institutions like functionalist theory with the spinning cogs. It's all about what individuals believe and how they interpret the world, and that's what causes any change. So it analyzes society, therefore, by addressing the subjective meanings that people impose on objects, events, and behaviors. So it's this idea that people behave based on what they believe to be true, and not what is objectively true. So that's where they come up with this idea that any change is socially constructed through human interpretation. So for example, to explain this theory of social change and how it's all about people's different interpretations and social constructs is easy to explain when we look at things or opinions or changes that society has had regarding health. So an example one is, why, for example, would young people smoke cigarettes when they know that all objective and medical evidence points to the dangers of doing so? Okay, objectively, there should be no reason why anyone should smoke. It's bad on every single angle you look at. It's bad for your health, it's bad for your money, it's bad for your social, I guess, standing in the employee context of the world. You know, smoking is banned in most public places. There's only designated areas where you can do it. So most people disagree with it, right? So why on earth would anyone take it up? The answer is because of the social construct around smoking and how it's perceived. So studies find that even though teenagers are well informed of the risk of smoking, they think it's cool, and they also think that they're young and invincible and they'll be safe from harm, and that it projects a positive image to their peers. So the symbolic meaning of cigarettes overrides the actual facts regarding smoking and the risk. So when we're talking about that in terms of social change, remembering Interactionalist thinks of micro changes, people aren't going to change anything they do unless their interpretation of it aligns. So you can have all the objective evidence against it that you like, you can have all the physical proof that you like, but it won't cut it if people don't interpret it that way. It's similar here with example 2. So some aspects of our social experience and identities, so things like ethnicity and gender, that can be understood through interactionalism. So having no biological basis at all, again, there's no facts to support this. Both race and gender are still social constructs that continue to function in our society at a micro level, based on what individuals believe to be true, not based on what is actually true. And so that's this idea of interactionist theory, is that change can only occur because of people's interpretations and because of individuals' interpretations on certain events. Okay, so it always starts at micro level. They don't believe there's any meso level change, they don't believe there's any macro change, or if those changes do occur, it's because of the belief of every single individual. So they don't really take into account collective beliefs or the big picture, or how, say, governments or institutions or big bodies like that can affect change. According to the interactionist lens, it's all based on what the little individuals think and how they construct that meaning of their world. That's what will create change. So for example, people used to think smoking was really good for you, as we can see in these images here, that nicotine cigarettes are the smooth taste expectant mothers crave. That is just insanity. and that this was something I took from a doctor's pamphlet. Give your throat a vacation, smoke a fresh cigarette. So the idea that smoking could fix a sore throat because of the heat of the smoke, or the idea that it can help you lose weight and all that sort of thing. So that's a perfect example of interactionist theory, the idea that individuals believed that smoking was really good for you, whereas now that social construct has changed. People are starting to recognize the impact that that can have on your health, body and mind more objectively. So the criticisms of the theory is that it neglects macro level social interpretation, or the big picture, so it really doesn't account for change at the macro level. It also ignores the force of institutions and how they shape individuals' interactions. So for example, regarding ethnicity and gender, the interactionist ignores forces like systemic racism or gender discrimination. So the idea that these macro and meso level institutions to a lot of the degree really reinforce the social constructs around racism and gender inequality, interactionist ignores that and says, no, you got it wrong. It's based on the individual's perspective, and that's what's creating that change. It's not that the government or the country or that systems themselves or meso-level institutions have any role to play. It's purely based on the micro-level individual's experience. So that's a criticism there, because we know that that's simply not true. That's based on evidence throughout history. When we look at things like Jim Crow laws in America, or the Australian Constitution, a macro-level document that used to not count Indigenous people in the census, is an example there of macro-level institutions maintaining social constructions, not just individuals. It has difficulty remaining objective because it's mostly qualitative based, so there's no quantitative to counter it or balance it out. And its main weakness is its overemphasis on individual and micro-level influences. Now, in terms of structural change, any structural change occurs slowly because people's interpretations of the world and beliefs change over time. Therefore, the change is evolutionary, and it is also linear. Okay, so it's point A to point B. Smoking is cool, smoking is not cool. Smoking while you're pregnant is good and healthy for you. Smoking while you're pregnant is not good and healthy for you. So the idea that people's beliefs on things change slowly over time, point A to point B. That's interactionist theory. Like I said, a bit wishy-washy and wanky, but we only need to know the extent of these theories to be able to differentiate between them when we get a multiple choice question, and that's what I want you to do now. So I've got 4 multiple choice questions here from past HSC papers, and so I'd like you guys to answer those. There's only 4 there based on what you learnt here, and then we're also going to do an additional bit of revision later on. But thanks for listening. That's all for social theories. It was a bit of a slog, but well done. This is what I was talking about. Year 12 content in this course can get a bit heavy. But I'll see you in the next one. Bye.